Lord have mercy. All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Wiley Show. Right now, in honor of this town hall, our first produced town hall. I want to drink some Stella Rosa. Okay, I got a bottle. I didn't even know they had these big bottles, but I'm gonna drink some. You know, it feels so good. I want to drink some of this Stella Rosa Black or whatever in honor of the show because you just never know what's going to happen in today's episode. So I want to, do the smell tests or whatever. Okay. All right. So we're about to get this show started. I want to say thank you all for coming through. We have sent invitations out, so we're gonna have people come on the town hall. I am a biological man, all right, and being a biological man, I don't have any children, but we also have Don here. Don, you there? All right, we got Don there, and we are starting this conversation because y'all hear what's going out here in the media about transgender children transitioning. Zaya were able to agree, the judge agreed that she can have from male to female. Um, and also, the courts agreed. Can you all hear me? Let me know. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Give me a second. Let me see it on here. Don, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here,
Give me
Wally. What's up?
okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure. I'm gonna look it on my phone as well, so we can see as well. And I want to see if people can give their opinion. So yeah, so we have that, and then we have so many other people that are here representing this and having this conversation. Also, we have mommy here. She's expecting very soon, so she's pregnant. Okay, so I want to start this conversation and just bring it. If your child, I'm gonna come to you first, mommy, then to you, Don, come to you at 7, 8 years old and say, Mommy, I want to transition from I don't want to be a girl anymore. I want to be a boy. How would you handle that situation as your child's mother?
Can you hear me, Wiley?
Yes. Did you hear the question?
Yes, I heard the question. At 7 or 8 years old, my baby's 7 right now. Honestly, I would just really talk to her about it. Like now, I tell her, baby, you're supposed to like boys. Boys supposed to like you. But when she grow older and she literally like she'll be able to grasp the concept of who she really wants to be and what the world is like, then it would be more accepting. Like I wouldn't say that I wouldn't accept it now, but she doesn't know better now. So honestly, it would be a talk with her right now. It's not something that I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and do that because she doesn't know. She don't know any better, in my opinion. But if she was older and more experienced, then it would probably be a different conversation. But
Mm.
not 7 or 8.
Don.
I agree. I agree. If she was older, it'd be a different conversation. But at 7 or 8, uh, is that better for my volume right there?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you well.
Okay. So yeah, I would agree with her. At around 7 or 8, that's more of a conversation me and her mom would have to her about, basically, she said she doesn't want to be a girl, she wants to be a boy. So I would just, kind of ask questions, so to speak, like what led you to this feeling, or are these some feelings you already had? How long you've had them? Blah 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 blah. Those kind of things. And then as she gets older, depending on, because I know the kids' mood and their attitudes and what they like and what they don't like, fads and these kind of trends, man, they change like the weather, just like a kid's mind. You know what I mean? So I just give you the perfect analogy. Think about it. So a 8-year-old with a 7 or 8-year-old had that asked me that question, or even just you can get a little bit older, 12 or 13-year-old. I would still, it would still be more of a talking moment for me, because mentally and emotionally, I don't think a child is ready to handle the ramifications of such a permanent decision. You know what I mean? So, because think about it, when we go to college, people in college change their majors 30, 40 times before they figure out what they want to do. So why shouldn't a child would do the same thing? If these 17, 18-year-old people in college are doing it, changing their majors, can't figure out what they want to do. And mind you, they're still old enough to go to war, kill people and everything, but they can't drink liquor at home. So if if they're having a tug of war with making decisions like that, I'm pretty sure it's more so, in my opinion, the same thing with a kid. But at the end of the day, you got to know your kid as well. So
I want to say this because I was talking to some progressives. They came to me and they were saying that it is disgusting what Florida is doing. You saw what the president said, that it's disgusting that, that they're making rules and saying, hey, they're banning children out of drag shows, they're banning sex change for children and all of that. And, the president came out and said, children should be able to transition at an early age. And he got some pushback from Angela Stanton. So many people were saying, what? Why are we putting sex with child in the same sentence to have a sex change, right? You can't drink. One of the arguments, they said you can't drink until you 21 years old. You can't serve the military until you 18 years old, but you can make a decision to transition at an early age. And so those are like the critiques that were coming up. For me personally, if I remember growing up, I wanted to sound like my mother. I put on my mother wigs. I put on her clothes at one point. I did wanted to be a girl at one point. At one point, I did want to be. I used to wanted to sound like a female. When I was younger. Thank God I never went to my mother and said, "Hey, I want to transition and be it," because I don't even think that was the conversation back in the 90s. I don't think that was ever a conversation. But let's just say, for instance, if I was in my mother's home right now and I was like 7, 8 years old, I know my mom would not even agree to something like that because it took her a while to accept me as a bisexual man. And now you're telling me you want to transition to a whole nother gender. I just sat at my table and I said, oh, I wonder why if I wanted to be Marquita, the cross-eyed diva for real, and say, Mama, don't call me Marquise, call me Marquita. Telling my nieces and nephews, don't call me uncle, call me auntie. I think that will cause some type of confusion. Um, that will cause some type of drama in the family because already some members still don't want to honor or respect the fact that I came out as an openly bisexual man. I'm not in the closet. I'm out of the closet. So if I were to come out at the dinner table and say, you know what, I'm Marquita the cross-eyed diva. Okay. Call me, says I'm wearing pumps, I'm getting the boobs, I'm getting all these things done to my body. I want you to respect me. I think, and I know in my household, it will be in the Wiley household, it will be some major pushback. And I don't think a lot of family members will respect that. I remember, growing up in the church, just being a young gay boy, when I came out and said I was gay and admitted to the church and came out to the church and told the church that I'm a homosexual, right? One of the members of the church said, I was talking, friends with a sister in the church. She had a child, and her aunt told her, "Don't let Marquise hold the baby because he have a gay spirit, and I don't want that gay spirit to jump or to leap on the child," because they were teaching in the church that spirit leaps. And so I remember going up there. And so if I were to say, "Hey, I'm a trans woman," it would be World War III. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I understand, I see now policies is trying to be changed, that in California, you could be a child at a drag show. You know what goes on at drag shows: alcohol, right? Liquor, right? They throwing money. Most people are kind of halfway naked at drag show. People are kissing in drag shows. Let's be clear. When they come about, and I don't understand. You can go to a drag show, and I'm speaking in the community, but then you can't. You straight, John, you and your wife can't take your daughters to a straight club because it's 21 and older. But then in California, they can go to a drag show. So that just doesn't make sense the way they sell alcohol. It just, in my eyes, it doesn't make any sense. And I understand that we're trying to change in culture, and we're trying to change in society, and we want to make everybody feel comfortable. But I thought that the parent had the final say so. And I feel as though that laws trying to put in place that to take the power from the parent and put the power to the child. I've kind of feel that situation coming up, like, oh no, let the child decide if they want to. Well, a child can't make a decision to get no lease. An 8-year-old can't get no job because we got what's called them labor laws. But we telling that same child, oh, you can make a decision to transition from male to female and change your name and get a judge to order it. But that same 8-year-old child can't go and work a job for 40 hours or 80 hours because society said children are not supposed to be working in faculty and working. They're supposed to be in school. But I don't hear that argument when you're saying, let's make this transition. Let's go from one gender to the next, right? At an early age. I researched this, that your brain, I heard, from my research, you're not fully developed. The brain is not fully developed until you're 25 years old. And I believe some people say women are more developed faster than males. So let's just say 25. So if the brain is not fully developed at 25, then why are we allowing children to make a life-changing decision at an early age?
See, I don't think it's,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry for interrupting, but I don't
Go
think
ahead.
it's, I don't think that a lot of people in the community, well, I'll put it like this. A lot of the people in the LGBT community who feel the same way you feel, they've been silenced. Their voices have been silenced. And
But
so
I feel like they have been silenced. I get that. But my thing is this: I'm going to have a voice. And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I feel as that mainstream media, this is why I talk with you all the time. And I want to get into real estate. And a major thing I'm investing in is media, because that's a powerful tool. And I'm talking about news media, print media, because media is very powerful. When they overthrow a government, the first thing they take is the military. The second thing behind that, they're taking over the media. So media is very powerful, and they have their narrative in media. And I feel as though that I speak to a lot of gay people in the community, and they tell me they don't agree that a child should transition. They can never say it though, because they will be shunned in the community. they will be ostracized. They will be pushed aside. They will be called a hater. They'll be said, you're pandering to the community. You are a hypocrite and all these type of things. But I have a niece and she's 6 years old. I have my baby niece. She'll be 2 years old next week. And I don't think she can make that type of decision like that. I can't fathom myself. I'm in front of the judge. Your Honor, I'm here with my child. She no longer want to be Henry. He don't want to be Henry no more. He want to be Henrietta. He don't want to be a boy. He want to be a girl. And I just can't fathom standing there. And I damn sure can't fathom being a judge, agreeing and approving something like that. I just can't see it. And if I'm just if I'm stuck in the Stone Ages, well, let me be stuck in the Stone Ages, because I just can't get with this new stuff. I just don't agree with it. What I agree with as a parent, I agree with that a parent should encourage their child, not discourage them, not beat them out of. I don't believe in corporal punishment, but I believe you should talk to your child and to see why that child feel that way, and sit the child down and say, hey, if you feel the same way at 18, I will agree with it, but let's wait and hold off to you at an age, at some type of legal age, let's use 18 as an example. And if you feel the way, I will support you all the way. But I don't think we should support that at 8, 9, 10 years old. I mean, I was looking at a couple in the UK, and I feel as though that the parent of this transgender child is using her for clicks and views and for political gain and for monetary gain. I don't necessarily, if you really, really sit that child down, I don't think that that child probably just want to just be a child, not being a poster child for a movement and be a quote unquote activist. You're too young to be this activist at 8, 9 years old. But those are just my thoughts. I dropped the link if anybody else want to come on. Don, I don't know if your wife want to add a perspective on there or not, to give her point of view.
Yeah,
If she definitely was, she would get her point of view of that. Because I know you said she would have said, I believe this will be the first time ever.
So what I'll do is, hey, Zamina, come here. Say, come get on Wiley Show. All right, here you go.
Okay.
Hey, just kind of recap on everything, then she'll give you an
So
answer.
I want to ask you as a mother, if your daughter, let's give an age 8, 9 years old, infants come to you and say, Mommy, I don't want to be a girl anymore. I want to be a boy. As your child's mother, how would you handle this situation? Would you support it? What would go through emotionally? Like, take us through what would you do in that hypothetical situation?
My views on that, as a young person before they're 18, before they've had a chance to mature a little and have a little bit of life experience, I don't think that they should make decisions that have permanent repercussions. And it's not that I don't support what they want to do. I'm, whatever and whoever they feel that they are, as long as it's a good person, I don't care. So it's not the transition itself. For me, it's a matter of the medication and the effects that has on a person's body. I've had, even birth control. I've taken birth control, and the effects that it had on my body, that's permanent, that left me with a lot of issues. I would never give that to my child or have that be something that's a possibility for that, because it could have no effect. It could have horrible effects. I don't know, but it's not a chance or not something I want to gamble with my kid's life for.
I hear your point. Oh, you brought up a good point about birth control, and somebody else said something. I want to put that comment, and for you all can see the comments done, because I don't know if you can read the comments on your back end. But this person said this: grown people get BBLs, regret it, and remove it. Are those procedures reversible? Like if you were to get bottom surgery, meaning if you were to remove the sausages, we're gonna keep it clean for YouTube, and you insert and get a women's body part, you can't reverse that and get another penis back. Like, I don't see you can reverse that back. If not, I don't think it's gonna work like it was in a natural order. So when I seen that, I'm like, we can even go back to Black China. She's an adult. She got fillers. She got all these things done to her body, boobs and everything. Now she's removing it. The same thing with K. Michelle. But I don't know if you do bottom surgery, if you reverse that. And if so, how do that look? I know it's not pleasurable. I know that had to be not the way it was when you came in, or your original human body before you did all the work. So I'm just saying all this stuff. I'm like, what is really going on here? And parents, need to speak up. And I understand. I want to ask you, as parents, Don, and your wife, you see Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle Union. What are your true thoughts of them? Do you think they are using their daughter, to respect her pronouns, as monetary gain, as a badge of honor, using it for a come up in the industry? Or do you genuinely believe that they support their daughter's transition? What are your first thoughts when you saw Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle Union doing those things? Because I would like to know, because I want to see what the parents are like. Because people was like, oh, she's doing all this. Like, what do y'all think about that with Dwyane Wade? And let's be clear, the biological mother of Zaya Wade's mother disagreed with the decision. I want to make sure she disagreed with the decision. She felt as though that Zaya should have waited till she was 18. And she felt that Dwyane was doing it for monetary gain. So I just want to make sure I put that out there. But Don, what do you think about that situation?
I think him and Gabrielle Union are profiteering off that baby. I think they're profiteering off that baby. I think that was strictly let's be the face of this. Let's jump out in front of this. You know what I mean? And with their influence and financial backing, I think this was a plan. It was well orchestrated. I don't think this was like a coincidence or anything. I think this was staged and planned, and yeah, it's just sad that they're making a mockery of that baby. You know what I mean? Honestly, they can say what they want, but like, you don't know what that baby going on. You don't know what's going on with that baby behind the scenes. And when you taking hormones, man, like my wife said, seeing grown women, get off birth control and stuff and have suicidal thoughts, and it screw up their hormones and chemical imbalances in their brain. So even if you give a baby that, ain't no telling the repercussions and the effects of that having on a baby's brain. At the end of the day, it's probably reversible, but I doubt it. I doubt if the effects of the hormones in the body and those chemical imbalances that it induces in the brain, I doubt it if that's something you can come back from. You know what I mean? Like that baby won't know the residual effects of that until, a long time. So it's just little things like that, man. I'm not a fan of it, but to each his own. I just think it was all for monetary gain and for clout.
All right. Did you watch what she wanted to say something to add on before we bring your next ex to get his input on the matter? And welcome your next ex on the panel, joining us on this town hall.
Hey, Wiley.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, because you are bisexual and you are a father. So if your son were to come to you 8, 9, come to you at that age, or at any age, as a child, and say, hey, I want to transition from a boy to a girl, you as his father, how would you handle the situation?
Firstly, I would have a long conversation with him. Days long conversation, and after that I would want to get like a medical expert to take a look, or to diagnose exactly what's the issue. Like, the only way I could even entertain this is if my son had gender dysphoria. I feel like a lot of people, they're influenced by social constructs. So if he was actually diagnosed with gender dysphoria, Like when he looks in the mirror, it like what he sees does not align with who he actually thinks that he is, then at that point I think I would go down the route of transitioning. And the reason I say that is because I think it's as a parent, we we want what's best for our child, and to make them go through to make my son in that situation go through a male puberty, and like when he's 18 years old, he's already gone through puberty, and he could be 6'4" and look like a lineman, like, and he's saying that he's the opposite gender. I think that that's in itself, I think that that's borderline like cruel, and you're just waiting the clock out. You're just waiting for the clock, like, oh, he's 18, it's out of my hands. Like I don't have to explain to anybody the situation. And I think a lot of parents are like not looking at the situation, and they're just thinking about other outside people, like judging them. And also, I think that the worst parents are the ones that do what's easiest for them and not what's best for the child.
I hear you. I love that point. And we having these conversations, you guys. Anybody that want to come on, and I will drop the link, and we also will open up the thing as well. We also have a YouTube content creator, Sean Bradley, is joining us as well. Sean Bradley, if your son or daughter will come to you and say they 8, 9, 10, and they say, "Hey, Paul, I want to transition." How would you handle that as that child's father, as your child's father?
Hello, Wiley. Hey, everybody
Hey,
else. Thanks for having me, Wiley. That's a good question. If being that I do have sons and I have grandkids, I would get my child therapy first, just to make sure that they are, certain that this is the road that they want to go down. And I would get them a lot of therapy. Um, Personally, I wouldn't let my male child or female child indulge in gender bending, wearing, female clothes or male clothes. I'm like, no, we're just gonna be, you're gonna be who you are right now, because you still don't know who you are. So you're still on the road to discovering who you are. So I wouldn't make any rash decisions at all. I would just like, we're gonna put you in therapy for right now. And then once you get of age and you can make your own decision, and if you still feel like you want to go down that road, you go down that road all you want to, because some people that do have surgery, they regret it later. And it's not going to be on me that at 15 years old, I had my child do a sex change. And now at 25, they're mad because they want a penis and they don't have one anymore. I mean, sorry to be blunt about it, but, or your daughter then cut her breast off. Now she wants to have a child and breastfeed and everything. It's like, so it would be therapy. Now, are you talking about Dwyane Wade situation, correct?
Yes. Dwayne Wade, yes.
That particular situation I have a problem with, because I like that they are supporting her, but it feels like it's in our face, and it's like they're pushing it on us, and it's like we don't need to know what she's going through. I can like that, support your daughter, but why does it got to be in the public eye? Because if this goes bad in 10 years, we're gonna be looking like, but y'all was pushing for it. So I don't think they should be doing this in the public eye at all. So
Do you feel like with the laws being changed, should parents that feel this way get more involved politically, because they're trying to change the laws that said, okay, let's the president. I want to know your thoughts, Sean Bradley, and him say, that a child should be able to transition, that you should be able to have a sex change.
no, that's just like the law that they changed to where in certain states a child underage can have an abortion and they won't notify the parents. All of that is ridiculous. If you are under 18 years old and you're in under my care, I need to know everything that's going on with you medically, and I need to be able to make that decision, not you.
That's a good point. I want to ask you your next action. When the president came out and said what he said, do you agree with the president that children should be able to have a sex change?
Without
Yes.
the parent,
Yes, yeah,
With,
yeah. Do you agree with the president? His stance is
without the, I'm sorry, just to clarify, like
oh
without the parents' consent.
no, yeah, I don't know without the parent consent, even with the parent consent, because Florida, they trying to change the law to ban that. I believe Florida is one of the states trying to ban that. I know Texas, they trying to get a bill to do it, and have not read the bills, but what they're saying is they totally against it at all. Some states agree for you to change your name and your gender, but some states are trying to pass bills to say, hey, it's okay to transition, like that child should have that right. So I don't know if they taking away parental consent, but let's just say they're not taking away parental consent, but that bill is in place that a child can transition with the parental, approval. Do you agree with a law like that if a law is presented to your
I
state?
mean, yeah, if the parent is consenting, then yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect me.
But you won't do it for you. You're not gonna do it for your child unless it was done.
Unless diagnosed with gender dysphoria, like,
Okay.
because, and the reason I say that is because if, like, the treatment for gender dysphoria is transitioning, like,
Okay.
so if my child has been seen by experts, gone through therapy, done all of these things, like, my job as a parent is to make sure that my child is successful. And if my son has been clinically, I keep saying son, but child, but I have a son. So if my son was diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and this is like set in stone, this is like what he sees, he does not identify, he does not, what he sees is not what he identifies as, then, like, it'll be a tough pill for me to swallow. But again, my job as a parent is to set my child up for success. And I think a lot of parents, they they think of their children as possessions, like something they could just put on the shelf and just come back and grab. But like the child, at the end of the day, the child is its own autonomous, like, person. Like, yeah, you brought it into the world, but that's it. And you can raise it as much, I mean, as best as you can, but, like, at the end of the day, they're gonna go off and live their own life. So I have to make sure that how I'm what I'm doing for them is setting them up for success for when they do leave. So
I was a question. They said, do you agree that taxpayers should fund the surgery of a
no,
sex change? Or you feel
absolutely not.
because one of my
No,
producers
no,
said she
no.
worked for the insurance company, and under President Obama, he allowed them. I guess they covered on insurance to get the surgery, but President Trump, said no under his administration. But I'm going to pose it to you, Don, and I'm going to bring it to you, Sean. Do you believe that taxpayers should pay for it? Should be able to fit the put the bill out there and say, hey, the taxpayers will be able to have to do to pay for that surgery. Do you think Medicaid and all that should cover it?
No, flat out no. But with the direction our country is heading in, I wouldn't be surprised if certain doctors and physicians and medical professions are getting kickbacks and things like that, incentives and bonuses, for the people who make such change. I mean, they did it for the coronavirus. Think about all the doctors who got kickbacks from Pfizer and Moderna for the patients they recommended to get the coronavirus shot. So, man, if any way and anything, everything we talking about, me, brother, you're next, and brother say Sean Bradley, all the stuff that we're talking about, whether we for or against this, they're gonna find a way to try to make a profit from it. Trust me. That's how it's gonna go. This gonna turn into a profit type thing. You get what I'm saying? And so they're gonna try to line their pockets and push this agenda with money incentives. Think about it. How many of our people put their kids on medication for their government check? Well, what's gonna be the difference here? What's gonna be the difference? I'll leave it to y'all, the brothers. I'm just saying.
All right, Sean, what do you feel? Do you feel like your tax dollar should go to a child sex change?
Oh hell no. First of all, I'm 41 years old and I have not stopped discovering who I am. So why would a child be able to say, hey, I want to be a boy or I want to be a girl when they're like 12 or 15, when their body hasn't finished developing, they haven't even had a wealth of experiences or anything like that yet. Again, I'm still discovering who I am on a certain level as I get older and older and older. And again, my fear is I've seen people that have had that transition and then they transition back. And it's like, so what was the point? What were you, was it a phase? What's going on? And not saying that that's for everyone, because some people truly do transition and go the actual mile in a course or whatever. But I just think that's something that you should do when you're an age to where you can actually do it on your own and pay for it. Because if we're saying taxpayers should not pay for it, well, that leaves the parent to pay for it then. Who doing all that?
Well, I disagree. I think that the taxpayers should. I mean, we covering diabetes, insulin, $35 a cap, and it ain't my fault that Big Mama got diabetes. She should be able to afford insulin. So if we doing that and having Big Mama, the government do all that to have a high blood pressure pill, have given insurance to the elderly, it ain't my fault that you became old, didn't have enough money to get yourself in a nice good nursing home. So if we covering them, then we should be able to cover Pookie and Ray Ray if they want a sex change. Honestly, I feel that way. If they're not going to do that for the children that want a sex change, then get Big Mama out that nursing home that's covered by Medicaid or Medicare, and get them out and tell them to pay for themselves. That's what I'm saying. So go ahead, you disagree with that?
Yes, I mean, because we don't even have universal health care in this country. Like people can't, they can't even go see a doctor like for a cold. So why would we prioritize a sex change operation before a person could go get their insulin, like for survival? Like,
well, a lot of people, HIV medication is covered a lot of times by government programs, and people will argue it ain't my fault that you got raw dog, dirty, raw, and you caught this disease. Why should the taxpayer have to pay for that? And then you telling me that my beautiful daughter, she want to be a son and she want to be a boy, and you mean to tell me that the same taxpayer can't cover that? But you covered in Pookie and Ray Ray, they getting covered for HIV medication. They was out here raw in the bathhouse getting all wild in showers and having multiple threesomes, and they getting, did prostitution, etc. And we're covering that. But I feel for the parents. I feel for Kathy from Alabama. I feel for Maria from Houston, Texas, that are sitting there with their children saying, hey, wait a minute. My tax does cover a whole lot of shit that I don't agree with, but y'all still pay for it, and I still have to pay into it. So why can't Hillary from Alaska be able to get a sex change paid by the government?
Ryan, stop reaching. Stop reaching.
I mean, that's not reaching.
Stretch Armstrong. I'm talking about Stretch Armstrong.
It's covered by the government. So why is that covering? And then you can't allow Catherine to get a sex.
First of all, you conflating the issues, because again, when we talk about retirement care, nursing homes and stuff like that, there are levels. If you broke, you get the bare minimum. If you got money, you can afford to get better care. So let's start there. Just like with anything else, if you're broke, you get the minimum health insurance or whatever. You get minimum care. But if you got money, you get the red carpet, you get the royal treatment. So let's stop all that, because again, when you get into nursing homes, they take all your money because they provide around the clock care. And some people, they take all your money and you live, 20 years. Some people take all your money and you live 10 days. So it just depends. It's a wash at the end of the day, because we know a whole bunch of folks in the projects, grandmas and grandpas, is in the nursing home and they ain't had a job to save their life for 20 years.
Okay, let's talk about food stamps. I have to
wait, hold on. Hey, Wiley, can I say something to Sean real quick?
Go ahead.
Hey, say Sean, like let's like me, you, and you're next. So now think about this. Well, everything Wiley just said, and think about what you just said. Now everything that Wiley just said is almost exactly how the opposition is truly really thinking about this. Like what Wiley's saying are tangible points, because that's how the people who are pushing this, those are the exact points that they're going to bring up in the argument.
Entitlements.
And yes. So Wiley, I understand, the Wiley Show, you're gonna bring the drum and stuff, but what you're really saying is, honestly,
what about Shaquita in the projects? She got 6 kids with 4 baby daddies. She don't know the 5th one, and it's covered with food stamps,
Yes.
Section 8, and that's paid by the taxpayers. And you mean to tell me,
Like I said,
middle
Wiley.
class people with their kids,
See, Wiley,
Wiley,
you
at that
saying
point, we've done
exactly what I
enough.
said in my
At that
comment.
point, we've done enough.
I just don't understand.
Wiley
I
saying
just
exactly
don't-
what I said in my comment. They gonna find a way. They gonna find a way. That's my
But,
whole
hey,
point.
Don,
When I said that, they gonna find a way, brother.
but Don, to your point and Wiley's point, when you say she got 5 kids and she don't know who the 5th baby dad is, whatever, Wiley, and we're already taking care of them already. We've done enough. We're doing
Facts.
enough, and so we're doing enough to where you're comfortable with continue to have children that you can't take care of, that we got to take care of. When is enough enough? And
not to mention also from a morality standpoint, like you have to have food to survive. You know, this surgery, you don't need it at the end of the day. Maybe for your mental health, but like to survive, no.
I disagree with that because you went out there hoeing around getting these babies, and then you couldn't afford the 4th one. Now you got the 6th one, and the government we paying for it, right? You get your food stamps, and then
So the kids should suffer.
Well, no, I'm not saying the kids
Okay,
should suffer. I said that mama to take her raggedy ass, and she needs to get a job and work 40 hours like everybody else. That's just not right. And then I'm single, no children, right? And I have to work slave at a job. And I have to work, and then I didn't make a decision, open up my legs, getting on
That's
my
a
back.
choice, Wiley. That's a choice. That's a choice for you to
That's
slave
a
at a
choice
job.
you made, but
Did
you
you get a
made a
stimulus check?
choice. Why should I have to fund your bad choices that you made? You could.
Wiley, did you get a stimulus check? Did you
You
get a
know what?
stimulus check?
I did get a stimulus check. I think we all
I
got
didn't get a stimulus check.
You
I didn't get one either.
No,
I got
No.
a stimulus check. Well, I ain't giving it back because they gave it to me.
look at that.
No refunds.
What I'm saying is that if we fund and say we cannot fund that surgery, then we need to roll all the government programs back then, to be honest, because how can you say it's okay for this group to get government funding, but not for the children that want to transition? That's
Well, Wiley, to the point that you're trying to make is this is a need versus a want. We need food, we need housing, we need clothing, we need Medicare. So that's why those things are provided. Okay, through our taxpayer dollars, that's provided. But you wanting to have a sex change, that ain't my issue. That's none of my business. That's none of my concern, and that should not be held by the weight of the country.
Yeah.
That's no choice. If I want a Lexus, I go buy a Lexus. You don't. The country don't afford me to buy a Lexus. That's something that I want.
What about that child that's getting bullied, want to transition and want to have this because this is a need, this is affecting their mental health? I argue that they need care too. What about them? If we have a welfare for Shaquita in the projects, we need to have welfare for the transgender children as well. They deserve to be heard. And if I'm spending my tax dollar for Shaquita and Pookie them and Ray Ray and them, why should I not help the Catherine and the Beckys? I need to help them as well.
I'm sure they do get covered in certain ways, like mental health. They can go see a therapist. I'm sure the insurance will cover that. But like as far as a whole surgery to transition because you're wanting to do that, no.
Why are we dividing the children, Wiley? Why are we saying trans kids and all kids are covered? All kids are covered at the end of the day. All kids are covered. How about that? Let's do that.
You said that all kids are covered.
Increase cigarette taxes to make sure that kids get free Medicare. Okay,
but you're saying that
quit hating on Shaquita and her kids.
I'm not hating on her.
You being divisive right now.
We
Sounds
have
kind of
we have somebody
sounds a little haterish.
In the chat. Star, you there? And Star, can you hear me? I don't know if Star?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to come up and chime in on everything. So thank you for allowing me to come up. Going back to this last question that you asked about if this should be covered, no, it absolutely should not. I think that there are other more important health issues that are already not covered. Think about the people that are battling cancer. They can't even pay for or afford medications. Like, I just think this is a surgery that is by choice, and it is not, it's just simply not needed. I understand the want for it. I get it completely, but it's not something that is needed that is going to affect you living or dying.
Okay. And we got Queen Barbara. Queen Barbara, I want to pose the question to you, and then would you support your child? They come to you at 8, 9, 10 years old and say, Mama Barbara, I want to transition from a boy to a girl. Would you support that decision?
I would tell my child that to
Okay.
change your gender, sex has nothing to do with love. Okay? There will be someone on this earth that will love you unconditionally. The reason why I don't want you to have this operation is because when you get older and your body settles, it may be detrimental for your health and shorten your life expectancy, in my opinion, child. This is why I would talk to my child. So let me talk to you about a experience that I had with my daughter. My daughter is beautiful, one of the most beautiful Black women that was born on this earth. But when she was a little girl, all she wanted to do was boy stuff. I took her to TJ Maxx. All she wanted was the big red shiny car, the truck. She played with boys. I used to be trying to feed her dolls. No, this is the section you need to be in. She go right back to the boys section. She always plays sports. I go to the school. She's sitting at the table with about 50 boys, no girls, never had girlfriends. And one thing I heard this man saying how he would not support his child wanting to dress the way they wanted to dress. I would totally support that act. I would not be forcing the child. No, like I couldn't even take the Jordans till this day. My daughter's in her 20s. I can't take the Jordans off of her. She don't wear high heels like me and my daughter and be girly and cute. It's always a Jordan outfit. I'll be like, that look good, dude. You know, anyway, but that's how I treat my baby. But you know, she's so beautiful, she can't keep the men off of her, you know. But
All right.
so,
I want to ask Star the question: if your child were to come to you and say they want to transition at 8, 9, you know, go from one gym to the next, would you support your child?
No, I would not support that, and the reason being is because I just feel like it's just too young. First off, I don't think a kid fully understands going under the knife. That alone within itself and what can come with that, to me, a child is not going to fully understand that. So I personally think unless we have to go under the knife, we're not going. Me, my child, none of my loved ones, you know, if I had it my way. So no, I don't think a child can really even comprehend that. I actually have a 16-year-old son. Let me tell you something. He done changed his mind every other day. I done changed him to different schools so he can play sports. He done went from football to track to this to that. So I don't think a kid can comprehend something of that magnitude, like changing your whole identity and your body, because you may want to go back.
And we have to look at all of the
Queen Barbara. Go ahead, Queen Barbara. Go ahead.
I would like for us to look at all of the people that have had the statistics of the people that have had the operation and then regretted it.
But Queen Barbara, I have a question for you. Out of those people, what financially, where were they? Because then that's another question that I have. If you look at the folks that have had the surgery, prime example, Zaya, her parents are wealthy.
Exactly. And
so the average person, how can that type of burden to be put on a parent? How much is this costing? That's another equation that I don't think a lot of people talk about when we talk about these reassignment surgeries. The average person can't afford that for their child.
This is the reason why I would support the taxpayers paying for the surgery, because look at how the women go in the back doors and get the flat fix in their butt instead of the real stuff. You know, they will go to cheap alternatives and kill themselves. So we need to support if they are mentally, this is what they want to do. We need to help them do it healthy as much as we can. You know, if they're going to do it, you know, we don't want to see them. We don't want to see people making underground surgery tables like they be doing and start mutilating these people like that. And then we'll get a lot of, just like when abortions was illegal, you know, a lot of people was just doing it anyway. And deleting
Well,
cards.
in South Carolina, it's actually a bill on the table, if I'm not mistaken, for women who attempt to get an abortion to be put on death row.
Excellent.
I want your next X because he had his hand up. I want you to respond. Then I want Sean's reaction because I see his facial expression. He got something to say. Your next X.
So to respond to the genital mutilation thing, like if you're okay with circumcision, I mean you're supporting genital mutilation. So that's that. And two, like in regards to the payment, that's why I think things like hormone blockers should be an option, because like in regards to the payment, yeah, if they go through puberty, like especially from female to or from male to female, going through a male puberty and you're wanting to become a female it could be like irreversible. So like putting a kid on hormone blockers, just giving them more time to think and stuff like that, like giving yourself more time and another option. I think that's something that I would consider. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm just like pro trans and I'm fully support and fully behind this and everything like that. Like, no, there would have to be extensive therapy, extensive like doctor, like second opinion, third opinion.
When you say extensive therapy,
yes,
I'm paying it with my tax dollars.
No,
I'm paying for it.
No, you're not paying for it at all.
You're paying for it. So what
yes, it's my child.
What about Shaquita that's on welfare and her child want to transition? Who was going to pay for that? Should she pay for it or should the taxpayers?
The daddy, maybe. Like
that
ain't me. Well, then.
So should the taxpayers help her out or should the government?
Shaquita's gonna have to find a way to make it happen.
Okay, I hope it's with my tax dollars.
No.
Sean Bradley, did you have something to say as well?
Yeah. Everybody. Okay. So for one, Star, thank you for bringing up the point about Zaya is wealthy, so she will never know the feeling of a bad wig, bad makeup application, janky lashes. She will never have to go through the trials and tribulations that an everyday average child trying to transition and figure out how to apply a wig, a lace front, or any of that stuff. So she's coming out the gate already coiffed, already good, already just solid. So she will never have that experience of having, broken heels and things of that nature, where these other girls are trying to go to Walmart and figure out how to piece clothes together and whatnot. So this is apples and oranges. And so the everyday average person transitioning, their walk is completely different from Zaya's, for one, and also their walk is not in the public eye and making it seem like, oh, look how pretty she is now that she's dressed, now that she's a girl. Well, she has stylists and people to do her hair and everything else, and we don't have that. Also, Wiley, I think you're also turning people off. You keep saying Shaquita.
Because I don't know anyway. I'm speaking from the hood. I grew up around Shaquita, and
I'm gonna say like this though, Wiley. Why you putting it on Shaquita is because we already know that the man ain't there. It's
right.
already good.
And I go around and they get a lot of government assistance. And I talked to a lot of people, and they said this ain't right.
They get a lot of government assistance in Utah as well, so you can put it on Mary Claire and Emily Elizabeth as well.
I'm not around
like 50 kids, bro.
Because they get just as much. We are. But white trash is totally different than black people anyway. But also to Ms. Barbara's point about she's saying that if we don't fund transitions, they're going to go to back alleys. Those are choices. Those are wants. Those are desires. And your wants and desires are different from mine. And I should not be on the hook to fund your wants and desires, just like you shouldn't be funding my wants and desires. Now, funding your need, we can do that all day long. They said California is giving out doing free transitions and stuff like that. California has bigger problems with people on Skid Row. Skid Row is what, 10 miles, 15 miles long now. People are homeless everywhere. They can't pay their bills. So I think that the need of getting people off the street and getting the city cleaned up and getting people proper water and sanitation outweighs the need for someone trying to transition. I think if you ask people in Los Angeles, their money would probably want to go better to getting them affordable housing.
Okay, so you talking to a woman that is dealing with mental health issues, and it's very important. It's just like having cancer, and you cannot leave me mentally ill. You know, you have to, you know, I mean, I need support. I need medical support. So therefore, like, I'm just to be left because I'm poor and I can't afford
We can give
medical
you therapy. We can do therapy all day, baby. But other than that, I ain't paying for the chop.
Listen,
Well, I mean,
I don't agree with no one getting chopped off, and that's so serious. The most beautiful thing in the world I ever set my eyes on was Magic Johnson's son, because he didn't do anything to alter himself. He just loved to wear woman clothes and looked fabulous in it, and I was loving it. You know, he didn't have to have no breast implants, no butt injections. You know what I'm saying? And I was just loving that. Healthy, beautiful, fine angel. You know, and that's what I want transgenders to know. Like, if people cannot love you for who you are, then they are not for you. Okay? And sex has nothing to do with love.
But that's for anybody. That message is for anybody, though.
I want to.
well,
I want to get Just Zoe. Just Zoe is joining the panel from New York City. Go ahead, Just Zoe. Just
and
Zoe.
how are y'all? First of all, when it comes down to EJ Johnson, he's like 3 steps away from transitioning. The only reason why he's not doing it is because I believe that his father is not feeling it. I believe behind the scenes in the private of their own in the private of their home, that's an issue, and I believe that's why he hasn't gone as far as fully transitioning. I mean, he wears the female clothes. He wears the heels, all of that. So he's like steps away of doing that. When it comes down,
You read an article stating that? You seen any information stating that he wants to trans? I'm just asking.
Can I respond to that comment? I'm sorry.
Yeah, have you seen any article saying that he wants to transition?
He steps away of doing so. If you follow EJ Johnson from when he was 300 pounds and to now, his evolution is he's going in that route of transitioning. He's going in that route.
Did he say that? Because you know he's probably
he did not say that. But if you follow EJ Johnson and his his transition into being a gay male when he first came out the closet to now, he's going in that direction of trans. He's going in that direction. He's going in that direction.
I want to also bring up,
like you said, if he went in that direction, he could have paid for that 10 times ago.
Wiley's trying to talk. Wiley's talking because he's the moderator.
Yeah, I want to get your next X, and then I'm going to bring a question to the panel. Your next X, you go ahead.
So to respond to that comment, like the first thing I said was I would talk to my child and I would go to therapy. We would go to doctors, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, all of these things. So how that person heard that I wouldn't take my son to therapy in that situation, like you have selective hearing, you need to pay attention. And I knew this was gonna happen. Like in panels, people just hear what they want to hear. They just hear this. The selective hearing is
I want to get Sean Bradley to come on. People are leaving their comments here, and people are saying, one person said this is the most ignorant panel ever. I don't know why they said it.
I want to say this, Wiley. When I say chop, I'm not necessarily meaning cutting off your penis. I'm just saying cutting on your body in general, whether it's getting breasts, whether it's getting your breasts taken out. Why do you gotta go to chopping off the penis? I don't care what you do with your body. Just don't ask me to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. To your point, well, going back to, I'm sorry, were you finished? I'm sorry.
I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Going back to, I think your name is Your Next X. The part where you said, so this is where the education piece comes in. You said something about if you support circumcision, you support mutilation. Well, to your point, a lot of mothers, especially those who have babies younger, they don't even understand what circumcision is. Never had the conversation, never even had anyone tell them. So that's to my point. As a child, you don't fully understand. You cannot fully comprehend. That's all I wanted to say because you said that a little while ago, so I wanted to bring it
Wait,
back.
I'm sorry. You said mothers don't understand, or
Yes, there are a lot of mothers, and I'm pretty sure, chat, please help me out, especially teenage moms. You don't understand what circumcision is. You most just feel like that's what you have to do.
I think you should
I've
circumcise.
I've heard so many girls. I've heard so many girls like when like say all the time how disgusting uh uncircumcised penises are, and they wouldn't do anything with them and stuff like that. So like so I think a lot of it is like aesthetic. Like people they do it because of the aesthetic of it.
That's from a sexual standpoint. What I'm talking about is when you're having a baby, you're on that bed, and they come and take your baby to circumcise him. Most don't even understand what that is.
So, Star, are you for it
Mm.
or are you against it? Because I think all babies should be circumcised.
Exactly. Me too.
Well, to again, I have a 16-year-old son. I got pregnant at 18, had him when I was 19. I didn't even understand that. I think if I would have been more educated on it, I possibly would have taken a different route. But
What route did you take?
he's
Medically, you should get your
circumcised.
child circumcised. It's very dangerous not to have your child circumcised. Not have them circumcised because they get micro tears. It's not the best thing to leave them uncircumcised because sometimes it does not stretch like it's supposed to. And I'm speaking from experience. They should have
That
circumcised.
that's the only real reason to get a circumcision is when the skin doesn't go over the head of the penis. But like any other, like if you pull the skin back, you clean it's completely fine. You just have to have proper hygiene. So like in that case, when the skin doesn't go back, like then yeah, that's when you medically need a circumcision. But like any other reason is strictly for aesthetics.
I believe that the circumcision, the
And
education of circumcision starts at home. I believe that a lot of women, a lot of mothers who do circumcise their children, their boys' penis, they learn that from home, from what their family do. Because circumcision is also a cultural thing, a religious thing. There's certain religious groups that don't believe in circumcision. You know what I mean? There's certain nationalities that don't believe in circumcision. So I think that education starts from home,
I
and
agree.
that,
I, I agree with you on that. I want to pose this last question to the town hall because this question have come up in messages. They're saying, Wiley, we're not saying it's ignorant. We're saying that these beliefs that y'all on this panel is pretty much about the majority of African American people believing that, and it's coming off as transphobic. Do y'all don't agree that a child should transition? Do you agree with the belief that you should be labeled transphobic? Yes or no? Like, what's the thought on that? Because it's a good that believe that
I
you all
don't
know
think
that
anyone
y'all.
on the panel is transphobic. Point blank,
Exactly.
period.
That's what
There's
they
no
do.
one on the panel that's transphobic.
I,
That's what
That's
they
a
do.
reach right there. That's a reach.
So it's
I don't
transphobic
think
well,
because you don't want
well,
to pay
can
for it.
can I answer? Can I answer? I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. As a gay man growing up, I knew that I was gay when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I've had feelings of wanting to be trans. Growing up, I wanted to be a girl. I remember in one instance, I was getting ready for school, and I didn't have no clothes on. I mean, I didn't have no clothes that fit me because I was, a growing boy. And I remember I had to tell my mother, I said, I want a dress. I want to wear a dress. And my mother slapped the holy mess out of me. And I really meant that I wanted to be a girl. But what I'm grateful for is that my mother allowed me to grow up and just be a child. Just, grow up and just be a child and be myself and grow into the man that I am now. And I'm actually grateful for that. And I believe that any child that has thoughts of wanting to be trans, think that the parents should allow the child to be themselves. Don't discourage them not to be it. Don't discourage them to be it. Just let that child grow up and be an innocent child. And every now and again, have little checks,
100.
have little checks, have little conversations with them, as they get older. So, when they turn 16 or 17, you know by now what you really want, because in some cases it could be a phase. You know what I mean? So when they turn 16, 17, you pretty much know what you like. You pretty much know what you want to do, and then take them to the clinic and have that conversation. And to also speak on another thing real quick. When it comes down to um, trans women and trans men paying for their surgery, a lot of states do it for them. I know in New York State, Medicaid pays for reassignment surgery in New York State. I don't know about any other state, but in New York City, a trans person can go to California or Cal Lordan, and they can start the process of getting a reassignment surgery. So I mean, it don't really cost. It's not really costly if you do with the get the funding from the government.
I just feel like that's unfair that they're getting a free check, a fat check from the government. And yeah, a lot of people are saying in the chat. I'm gonna go to Sean, then I'm gonna come to you. Your next Sean.
I gotta leave.
First, Wiley, so if we're on the hook to pay for it, what happens when 10 years later you want to transition back? Should we pay for that also?
I mean, you pay for it, Pookie and Ray get more kids, and you give them more food stamps. So I mean, the argument stands. If you go in there, they come back and bring some more kids. Oh, let's give them some more welfare. Let's give them some more Section A. Let's give them some more.
No, but see, that's the thing. I'm going to cut you off, but that's the thing. That's ignorant when y'all say, "Oh, what happens when they want to transition back?" There's very few trans people that ever think about transitioning back. They know who they are from the inside. Being a trans person is not on just about the outside. It's the inside. It's how you feel internally. They know.
Haven't transitioned back before.
Wait, can I?
Trans people. I'm not gonna say no trans has never thought about transitioning back, but there's very few, a small percentage that have thought about transitioning back. What they probably regret is doing the underground stuff, like going to the pump parties and getting the silicone and things like that pumped into their system, into their body. If they would have did it the right way and went to an actual board certified physician to get their body done, then they would have been good with that. But there's really no trans that thinks, oh, I want to transition back. No.
So I think there's a I think that there's
the next X. Go ahead.
I think there's a disconnect between you two. Like that's what I'm saying. Like gender dysphoria is like the only way like you can. That's kind of like how to separate the two, because I think that there's a lot of social constructs, like maybe something happens to a woman, something misogynistic happens, and she may feel like, man, I want to disassociate with my gender as a woman, and I want to be more non-binary, and like she may think that she wants to transition, or something might happen to a biological man, and like something may happen to him as a kid, and he might get touched or something, and then it like stirs up confusion in his mind. But if they don't have gender dysphoria, then most of those things could be worked out through therapy. But like gender dysphoria, like the solution for that is transitioning. So I feel like that's a disconnect. But to answer your question about like the transphobia, like I'm not, like everybody up here can pretend, but I'm not gonna pretend like the Black community isn't, like there isn't so much homophobia and so much transphobia in the Black community, like, or like that we're all united and we all just speak, like hold hands and sing kumbaya, because we don't. Like, and to say anything else is, you're not only lying to yourself, but you're lying to everybody up here.
I want to bring opinionated. That was a great point you brought up, and I want Sean's reaction to that. I see his facial expressions. Opinionated with a side of shade. Sister, you're there.
Hey, Wally, how are you?
Yes, you are a mother, and if your child come to you at 6, 7, 8 years old and say they want to transition, would you support? And the second question would be, do you think the government should fund sex change?
Well, honestly, Wally, I'm a bonus mom,
A bonus mom, yes, ma'am.
and my son is part of the LGBTQ plus IA community. He's more masculine presenting, but I support him in whatever he wanted to do.
So if he were to come as a bonus mom and come and say at a certain age, let's say 8 or 9, and said want to transfer a boy to a girl, would you support your significant other and say let's support this, or would you be against it?
Not at that age. I mean, now he's grown. You know, he lives on his own. He's in DC, but not at that age. I think you have to give, just like your mind has to mature. I think your body has to mature too, and give yourself a chance to figure out who you are in life. Yes, you can be presented as a non-binary. You can present any type of way you want to, and I do understand that race is just a social construct. I understand that part, right? However, it's still what it is amongst most people in the nation. I do think you have to give children a chance to develop.
That's right.
All right.
That's it.
Yep.
I want to, Sean, did you want to, Don, did you want to, or Sean, did you want to add something up to it? Wow, it's so many people is reaching out to me saying they wanted to say something, but our time has reached the max. We wanted to make sure that it was like an hour and I want to thank you to Sean, content creator, YouTube. I love this brother. We've been in the trenches together. Opinionated with Side of Shade, been on her for a while. Queen Barbara, me and her been going back and forth for a long time. Your next ex, thank you. Jess Zoe, thank you. Brother Don, thank you. Do anybody want to announce like their channel, any future projects y'all got up that y'all want to announce to the people?
I do.
Go ahead, Queen Barbara.
I want Black Americans to go to my channel because I want us to fight for reparations and sue for affirmative action. We got to sue the NAACP, Red Cross, and everybody and get reparations and leave the United States of America. I want Black Americans to stop being tricked by the Democratic Party because there's nobody but the South that wants to destroy America, just like we destroyed their descendants.
All right.
My page, I have 2 pages. Apartments available in New York City, and then Queen Barbara with only 22. My page is not for likes, and I'm the Underground Railroad for information. I am exposing lawyers and judges stealing money in Tompkins County, Ithaca, New York, and I want us to sue those lawyers and judges and take that whole county.
All right.
I said it and I meant it. Judge Rossler, Judge Peacock, the damn sheriff that killed Corey Henderson, you are going to be indicted. The whole county.
Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara, okay. Miss Barbara, okay. we got the whole rundown. Don, do you want to announce the person? Because I know you and I, you host a clubhouse every Monday and Friday. Oh, Don, there's a lot going on in the background. Don, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do you want to let the people know about that? Because you do host a clubhouse.
Yes, I have. I host a clubhouse about real estate. Just about real estate and the do's and don'ts, and kind of like everything you want to know as a beginner. The real things you need to focus on. So it's almost like how to play the game the right way. You know, a lot of people get into real estate and they do everything but play Monopoly. So I teach you how to play Monopoly. Let's beat them at their own game. You know what I mean?
Yes. I want to say thank you for you all coming together. I was so surprised to see Sean. I'm like, oh my gosh, he showed up. We hosted another town hall. The host is about how meth is destroying the Black LGBT community. And we're going to be talking about that in our next town hall, discovering that. So if you are a meth addict, if you want to come on, if you're a meth dealer, you want to talk about how you can come on. If you're a pimp, we are more than welcome. We want to hear your story. But if you go to jail, don't hit me up for no bail money. But we're doing another town hall, and we will broadcast that in the future. But thank y'all so very much. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show. Again, Just Zoe is coming back in the summer because he has been in this thing for 15 years. And so he will be coming back with his show in the summertime. And thank you, Star. I see you, Star. You're shining bright like a diamond for coming in. Opinionated with Side of Shade. This was amazing, and this was good. I know everybody didn't agree with me. I know Shaquita and them in the project don't agree with me, but if we can pay for them to get food stamps $500, $600, and the Wileys of the world slaving at a job have to work 40 hours and can't qualify for food stamps, why are they able to get food stamps? I'm just saying. All right, so we had good night. Bye, y'all. Okay, there we go.